everyone, I'm Dr. Jessica.
And I'm Dr. Tiffany, and today we are going to have a slumber party by talking about the best ways to better your sleep. Let me click the next slide.
All right, so let's dive in.
There are some statistics we'd like to go over.
So when it comes to sleep, the reason why we wanted to talk about sleep, well, number one, you all voted for it, but number two, there's about 35% of the United States population that reports that they sleep under 7 hours every single night, and about half the population reports being sleepy anywhere from 3 to 7 days per week, which is a lot.
Sleep is necessary for so many bodily functions. It helps your heart health. It helps you restore your energy. It helps you restore your cells. It can also help with your nervous system and your memory. And also, this one's good if you have high blood sugar, is it also helps with insulin production as well. How do I? There. So this is really cool. This is one of my favorite things to, if you will, geek out on. So this is a picture of your eyes right here. Let me see if I can get my mouse on it. So these are your eyes looking outward. And this is as if you cut your brain in half, parallel with the ground. And these are your nerves coming back, and then they crisscross. And this is the back of your skull, the back of your brain, where it says occipital lobe. So right here in the middle where it says optic chiasm, that's where there are 20,000 nucleus. That matters because your circadian rhythm, your sleep cycle, is based off natural light. So when your eyes see light, it knows it's time to be awake. And as it gets darker out, it knows that it's time to shut down the brain and the body a little bit. So what controls that is natural light in your eyes. Oh, I also want to mention, since we're talking about light really quick, is as we talk about light, like there are artificial light, so that will also trick your nervous system into thinking it's time to be awake, especially when it comes to blue light. So this computer that we're looking at right now, your iPhone, TV, all those electronics, they have blue lights built into them that stimulate your nervous system and will interrupt your melatonin production. So if you're looking at light at the end of the day, your melatonin won't start being produced because it thinks it's still time to be awake. So
mastering your sleep can help balance your hormones and can help other bodily functions as well. So let's talk about sleep stages first.
So there are 4 different types of sleep stages. On the screen, you'll see 5. The first one is basically light sleep, but it's the time that it takes you to fall asleep. What we call that is latency. Latency should take about 10 to 20 minutes. Your body's just winding down from the day. It's also a time where everything starts to slow down a little bit, like your heart rate, your breathing rate, also your blood pressure. And then your muscles start to relax. You also might, if you've ever experienced this, it's funny, but if you've ever had that muscle twitch as you're falling asleep and it like wakes you up, it happens in this stage, and it is completely normal. Your muscles may twitch in this stage as you start to fall asleep.
So the second stage is it's still a light sleep stage, but everything decreases in function a little bit further. So your body temperature starts to drop, your eye movements really, really slow down or cease. And this is typically the longest stage of sleep. So it makes about 50% of your sleep cycle.
The next one is the one we all love, is deep sleep. And we all are striving for it. This will, it's also called restorative sleep. This is the one that we talk about as chiropractors, where your brain flushes your nervous system. So this is where your brain really starts to flush your brain and your spinal cord with something called CSF fluid, and it just flushes out the toxins from the day. This is also where your muscles are completely relaxed and where your heart rate, your breathing, and your brain activity are all at their lowest level possible. So they've all decreased and you're more like just completely asleep. And I will say in all these stages, you'll go in a rhythm. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then the next one, REM.
So REM is your final stage of sleep. This is where dreaming occurs. Your brain is actually a little bit more active here. Breathing and heart rate increase just slightly, and your blood pressure will increase as well.
What's really cool about that stage is if you've ever had those dreams that kind of like you feel like they're real and you're awake, but your body is paralyzed and you can't move, that's actually on purpose. Your muscles are completely paralyzed in this stage when you're dreaming, and it's created that way so you don't go like punch your partner or
Ouch.
act on those dreams, just having the dreams.
So we wanted to talk about sleep tracking and sleep stages because there are a lot of different fitness tools, for example, the Fitbit or a watch like your smartwatch that can track sleep, and that way you know what stages of sleep and how much sleep you're actually getting. Dr. T and I have an OURA ring, so if you guys ever see us wear these, it's actually to track our sleep. And when you're looking at the sleep stages right here, so
we'll make them bigger.
Yeah, so with this, let me go here. So you can see that there's a couple different cycles that happen throughout the night. These are when you're going in and out of your sleep cycles. And it's normal to have about 4 to 6 of those every single night where you're going through REM, which is the light blue stage, and then the light sleep, which should make up 50% of your sleep right here. And then your deep sleep, or that restorative stage, which is the dark blue, that should be anywhere from 15 to 35% of your sleep. So you'll cycle in and out of these every single night. And then you'll even, if you wear a Fitbit or a smartwatch or an OURA ring, you'll even be able to see when you wake up through the night or if you wake up at all.
So in all transparency, that was my Monday night. I slept 6 hours and 50 minutes. And what's really cool about that is you can see at the very bottom the movement. So like some people move a lot in their sleep, some don't. In the deep sleep, so in the very bottom, you don't normally move as much. And then I had more movement as it's time to wake up. So it's really cool to see the actual cycles cycle through, because you should have about 4 to 5 cycles a night. I had 3 to 4. Okay.
So we wanted to mention just how much sleep you should be getting through certain phases of life. So for example, as an infant, you're actually going to want way more sleep, which we all already know this, that infants get a lot of sleep in their life. So how much are we talking? We're talking like 12 to 16 hours every single day. That is including their naps. And as we age and get older into like a toddler phase, it's still 11 to 14 hours. And then teenagers, so here's something important. Teenagers still do need a lot of sleep, parents. So it's okay if they're sleeping 8 to 10, even 12 hours a day still. Sleeping in it is okay. And then as an adult, so anywhere 18 years and up, we want 7 to 9 hours of sleep. What is important is that's what's recommended, but most people know their bodies pretty well. I do know a couple people that say I function best on 6 hours, and if I get anything over that, I feel very sluggish. So just make sure that you're paying attention to your body, because for example, on Dr. T's ring, just because she was in bed for 7 hours doesn't mean she was actually fully asleep for those 7 hours, but just pay attention.
What's cool about kids getting a lot of sleep is it's important because it's important for their growth and development. Sleep helps us with memories, and it also helps with our cognitive function, but it also helps growth and development. So we've heard of sleep regression in kids, so that's where they kind of regress with their sleep, but then they get more sleep again after that. That's usually a pretty good growth spurt for them as well.
So benefits of sleep. We are talking about sleep today because it actually makes up about 1/3 of your life.
So we spend all this time doing this. What's important is that we talked about it helps with your brain and nerve function. Your brain and your CSF fluid go through and wash during that deep restorative sleep. It also helps you restore your memories in your hypothalamus. So things throughout the day, this is when you get to that deep sleep, your brain is actually rewiring your brain as you sleep to keep those memories until shifting it from short-term to long-term memory. So the better sleep we can get, the better our memory and clarity can be throughout the day.
The next thing we talked about is heart health. So your blood pressure actually decreases at night. And if we're not getting enough sleep, then our blood pressure will remain high, which when you wake up, it will still be high. So it can help decrease your blood pressure as well.
It helps with your immune system. So getting deeper sleep helps you, as you know, if you get sick, you're tired, you're fatigued, your body's just trying to restore itself. That comes back to that cellular redoing your cells. That's because it wants to be healthier all the time, bringing oxygen to it, flushing out toxins. And then the next one is insulin production, which is very important for our hormones. Sleep has so much to do with our hormones. Insulin production will go down as you sleep because your glucose production will go down. So if you check your blood sugar, you know that your glucose levels, your blood sugar levels will be higher after you eat naturally because you just ate, the food provides you fuel, and then your insulin levels will spike to try and take the glucose, the sugar from your bloodstream and put it into your cells. So when you sleep, you're not eating. It's important not to eat a huge meal before bed because that will spike your insulin. So let your hormones reset themselves as you sleep.
Conserving energy. So your body will, again, kind of slow down and downregulate, conserve your energy at night. So that way when you wake up, you're able to utilize your cells and your ATP. And then wait. So even at night, or if you get a good night's sleep, I should say, where you're getting enough sleep, it will regulate your ghrelin and your leptin. So your ghrelin is a hunger hormone and your leptin is your full hormone. And so if you don't get enough sleep, your ghrelin will be high, meaning you're very hungry, and your leptin is going to be low, meaning you don't ever feel fully satisfied. So therefore, throughout the day after you wake up, you'll just be hungry and hungry and more hungry, and you just keep eating without realizing that you actually are full and you are satiated. And therefore, over the long term, that means you'll gain weight. So getting more sleep can actually help regulate these hormones.
So how to know how to help sleep is how to know what's disrupting it. Sleep disruptors are EMF. EMF is called electromagnetic frequency. This comes from all electronics. So it comes from your computers, your phones, your TV, even things that you have plugged in all the time. It also, I didn't think about if you live near power lines, that's also a high EMF area. You want to try your best to decrease EMF and decrease what the electronics you look at. I personally have taken the TV out of my room. I don't have a TV in my room. I make sure that my body recognizes that environment as a place to rest and sleep. So trying to limit the electronics you actually have in your bedroom is good. Blue light we mentioned earlier with the optic chiasm, if you remember the picture with the eyes. That's important because it stimulates your brain and your nervous system, and it tricks it into thinking it's daytime, and it also creates this activity in there. So if you're looking at your phone before you go to sleep, it's going to be hard to fall asleep when you put it down. So trying to take away EMF and blue light about an hour to 2 hours before you go to sleep.
Interesting. Is that why people have blue light blocking glasses?
Yes. So if you see around the office, some of us have blue light blocking glasses.
That's crazy. From
looking at the computers all day. You can find those, they're out there on some websites as well.
You can even turn the blue light down on your phone and your computer screen as well during the day.
Nighttime mode.
Night mode. Some other disruptors might be the person sleeping next to you. If they kick, if they toss, if they turn, or they're snoring a lot.
CPAP.
This can definitely disrupt you. Pets. So even my dog, she sleeps on the floor in her bed, but she has a collar on, and I call them her jingles because it's like her collar and her rabies tag. And if she shakes her head, if you're a pet owner, you know what I'm talking about. It makes noise. So sometimes I'll even take her collar off at night so I don't hear that. Eating too late can disrupt your sleep. So for example, a high sugary meal before bed, like eating dessert, sometimes won't allow you to get into that deep sleep, that restorative sleep. This includes alcohol as well. And then if you're ever in pain, you might know that if you lay or if you roll over onto one side, it might wake you up because you're in pain. So all these things can disrupt your sleep. And so we want to talk about how we can actually help some of these issues.
So we have a cool story to share with you. So some people come into the office seeking help for pain, headaches, migraines, all different things. This person, she came in because her primary complaint was migraines. So we're looking at her x-rays, which I'll go over here in a second. If you look at the atlas bone, which is the very top bone in your neck. It's just below your skull, the one that we circled with the mouse. That bone is your atlas bone. It's called your atlas bone because it holds up your world, your brain, your head. It's a very important bone. It helps control things, your vagus nerve that goes to your heart, your lungs, your digestive system, allergies, sinuses, things like that. It also, if it's out of place, it can also create migraines. So hers was a little bit flatter than we like. We like it taking off like an airplane. So this one was flatter, causing her to have migraines. Then 2 years later, if we look at her neck here, her atlas bone is starting to take off like that airplane. And she not only has better sleep, but she no longer has migraines. And she was suffering with some anxiety and depression. And she came off her medicine for that. And she no longer has those things. So helping your atlas bone can also help your mood, your sleep, insomnia. And how you do that is by getting adjusted, and also through your home care. If you're a patient of ours, you know that you have things at home to pump your discs, the sleep rolls to lay on. So that's how you take care of your cervical spine and your atlas bone.
So next we'll talk about things that you can do in your environment, specifically your bedroom environment. So getting plants that purify the air, or even an air filter, can help your body. And we say that because most people don't realize that your indoor environment is actually more toxic than the outdoors itself. So meaning there's pollution from, or air pollution from, your flooring, synthetic materials, your paint, your bed. So there's a lot of toxins indoors. Plants, which Dr. T will talk about in a minute, can help purify the air, or getting an air filter. Blue air filter and Molecule are actually some really good ones. I believe you can find those on our Amazon site. We said using an alarm clock instead of a phone. So earlier we were talking about blue light and EMF, which both are held in a cell phone. So not keeping that near your head at night would be really great. And then also, some people, if you can't fall asleep, you might be tempted to just grab your phone if it's right on your nightstand. And look at it, which again, more blue light, so you will still be stimulated and still not be able to fall asleep. So just getting an alarm clock instead might be helpful. Using oils, so whether you want to put it in a diffuser to keep them going all night, or even putting them on your feet where your body will absorb those essential oils would be great. Lavender is a really good one. Sandalwood is actually really grounding, and chamomile is also pretty soothing as well. And then the other thing that you can do is keep your environment cool. So turning the air temperature down anywhere from 67 degrees and below is actually more restful for your body as well. Some things that we didn't put on there would also be like using a nighttime mask, sleep mask. So most people might use curtains in their room. If you don't want to buy curtains, a sleep mask is the next best thing. This sleep mask actually also has lavender in it, so it's very useful. But curtains are really helpful, like blocking out all the light, so that way your body knows for sure it is bedtime, and then you won't be woken up by the sunrise.
Sure. Those are especially helpful for people who work at night. I was going to go over plants. There are some. So Dr. J mentioned some plants that are good for your room. NASA did a study a few years ago on all the air purifying plants. There's like 20 of them, but just to mention a couple, there's one that you see on the left, that is the peace lily. The peace lily helps take in the carbon dioxide and release more oxygen. It also purifies the air of all those toxins we were talking about. The one on the right is a mother-in-law plant, or snake plant. I have one of those in my room. I actually have it right by my bed. The snake plant helps detoxify the air. Things that are floating in the air you don't realize, like formaldehyde, benzene, those detoxify that, take it out of the air, and produce more oxygen. Some other things are, there is a archaea plant that also takes the formaldehyde out of the air and produces tons of oxygen. And one that I thought was really fun that we don't always realize that you keep outside is a Gerber daisy. Did you know that?
I did not.
So you can keep it's suggested to keep a Gerber daisy on your nightstand. And a Gerber daisy does produce lots of oxygen, but it really helps with people who have sleep disorders, like sleep apnea. It helps with people who have COPD. So there's some studies out there The thing with Gerbers is that they do like lots of sunlight during the day. So maybe by a window and having it in your room by a window or something. So
it's really cool.
Yeah.
Daisies are so pretty. Who knew? So we wanted to also talk about mattresses because a lot of you guys asked, like, what's the best mattress? We wanted to talk about these mattresses specifically because they are non-toxic. So meaning they don't have that flame retardant in them. And so when you're spending a third of your life or, 6 to 9 hours every single night on a mattress, you are inhaling a lot of fumes. So the Dream Cloud is one that is 6.5 on the firmness rating. The cool thing about it is you have a full year to try it out and then return it. Same with the Avocado mattress. It's a little bit more firm, but it's non-toxic, and you have a good return policy on that as well. And then there's also a BioPosture mattress. This one, again, is non-toxic, but you have to make sure to ask not for it to have the flame retardant on it. And that one only has a 90-day return policy. So you guys can check these out on the website.
And then
Pillows.
The pillows also come from the same website. So the Avocado Green Mattress website, we put the website right there. And then the company store website. What's cool about these pillows is you can choose the firmness you want. I know I personally like a firmer pillow. What's important about pillows, people ask us about pillows and beds all the time. For our patients to develop and mold the curves in your spine from the side, in your neck and your low back, we give you those sleep rolls. The ideal position to sleep in is on your back. And when you're laying on your back, you want to lay on those rolls to mold those curves in your spine.
Okay.
Now, if you're like me, I lay on them for a couple hours, and then at some point during the night, I don't know where they are, but I end up on my side. And so if you're one of those people who has to sleep on your side, or you don't know where they go and you also wind up on your side, the pillow is to fill the gap between you and the bed because you have space here between you and your shoulder. So you don't want a pillow to be too soft because then it cocks your head this way, or too heavy like this. You want your nose, your chin, and this notch right here to all be in a line when you lay down on your side. So try and find a pillow firmness that you like. And then also if you're laying on your side, you want to put a pillow between your knees because you want to keep your hips and your shoulders nice and stacked. You don't want them folding over too much either.
We also wanted to talk really quickly just about a mattress kind of test that you can do to see if maybe it's time for a new mattress. It'd be getting a yardstick, and you would just lay that yardstick across your bed this way. And if there is any sort of dip in the mattress, probably about ½ inch or more. So some people, you might, if you have a golf ball or maybe even a tennis ball, if you see that tennis ball dip just a little bit, then maybe think that it's going to be time pretty quick for a new mattress. I've had lots of patients tell me that once they get in bed, they just roll towards the middle, and that's because the mattress is older.
Yeah.
So it means it's older, and you probably want to get something more supportive to help support your back and help your aches and pains at night.
I do believe the rule of thumb is about every 10 years. And I know different mattresses have different timings, but definitely look into what the one you have does. Bedtime routine, this is fun. So as you start to get ready for your next day, and as you're getting ready for bed, you want to do this in lower light. Don't have tons of bright light on. You're trying to get your brain and your body to wind down. So prep for tomorrow, whatever that looks like for you. For me, I get my coffee ready. So I make the coffee pot. I put everything that way in the morning. All I have to do is sleepily hit the button and it'll go. You can put your clothes out for the next day. Even start taking a bath. I know I take an Epsom salt bath every maybe 4 days a week. Also turning down the temperature. This is something I like to do when I first get home. I turn down my AC a couple degrees so the AC isn't kicking so strong to move like 5-6 degrees.
Yeah.
And so I do it when I first get home, and then I do a couple more degrees when it's time for bed. So I know that it's slowly creeping down just like my body should as well.
The other things that you can do would be even not taking an Epsom bath, you just said that. So setting the alarm. So something that I like to do for myself is actually set the alarm at the same time roughly every day, probably within a 30-minute window. So that way I'm really trying to help my circadian rhythm in terms of going to bed around the same time So getting my bedtime routine started around 9:15 to 9:30, and then finally winding down by about 10 to 10:15 is ideal for me. And then I have this problem with making sure that my phone alarm is set.
Yes.
So I literally double check it probably 3 times just to make sure. I'm always afraid of missing my alarm, and I know
I'm not going to wake up. I need to make sure.
But I think if I don't double check it at night, I end up waking up probably about 4 a.m.
Scared
thinking I missed my alarm. And so that's a sleep disruptor, and I try not to do that to myself. So making sure that I set the alarm, and then I'll even keep that alarm away from me. So putting it in my bathroom, so that when it goes off, I'm actually having to get out of bed to go turn it off, so that I'm not hitting that snooze button.
Have you seen those? They have I haven't seen them in a long time. They had those alarm clocks that you would put on with wheels on them, so you had to go chase it when it went off to turn it off. I thought that was great, but I don't want to chase it. I might just get up, turn it off.
That reminds me, we talked about earlier too, they have a alarm that has like a light in it that gets brighter to simulate the sunrise. That might help wake you up as well. So we can link that later. And then again, adding essential oils to your diffuser or putting them on your feet just to help your body calm down and relax. And then the last thing I like to think of or do is potentially journal at night. So what that looks like is having a piece of paper and a pen next to your bed so you can brain dump any thoughts that you might have that have happened throughout the day. You can just write them down. That way it's not
list. Sometimes you're like, I just have so much to do.
Yeah.
I just make a list. That way it's there when I wake up.
That is true. And that way it's out of your brain. And then you can even write down something that you're grateful for. Just practice that, being grateful and that gratitude.
So there's definitely supplements that can help you through sleep. A couple of years ago, about maybe 5-6 years ago, I was having a lot of trouble with sleep myself. So that's when I took the TV out of my room. That's when I got a better bed, a better pillow, and I started taking supplements. And that was also because I was waking up at 3 a.m. every single night. And so in order to help myself, I started this process with a sleep journey. And one of those things I started doing was magnesium. Magnesium is a great supplement to help your body wind down. It helps your muscles relax, just like an Epsom salt bath. Your muscles actually need magnesium to reset. You can get magnesium through green leafy vegetables and food, which is great. Eat lots of salad, but it is helpful at night. And then what's amazing about magnesium, if you're someone who struggles with anxiety or depression, and you're weaning yourself off your medicine, or you're trying to avoid anxiety medicine, magnesium is something that can help you with that. It helps your neurotransmitters prepare for bedtime. So always taking magnesium at night is good. Some people take it during the day for certain aches and pains, but it's definitely something I started with. And then another great one is the sleepy one, the one in the middle, that's the tincture. This is for people, this could be for kids. It's also for people who can't swallow capsules or pills. Sleepy has a lot of good things in it. One of the first things is licorice. Licorice helps increase your GABA. Your GABA goes up at night because it helps calm down your brain, and you need that to start sleeping and to produce melatonin. When you have anxiety or depression, your GABA levels aren't as high, so we need to produce more GABA. And licorice does that. The next thing is silk tree is also in it. That calms your mind and helps you stay asleep, which is important because I know there's different types of sleep disorders that we have that we're struggling with. So this helps you get to that deep sleep and then stay in the deep sleep. The next two, dancing is also in there. It is a Chinese root. It soothes irritability. So what happens when we have trouble sleeping, sometimes we can put our body into that fight or flight mode, which we talk about a lot with anxiety. We talk a lot with chronic fatigue and adrenal issues. So it helps soothe the irritability of that, just having your mind racing and going, and it puts you in a bad mood. So that's also in there. And then the last one is Xiphus, which helps alleviate anxiety and restlessness and alleviate worry as well. So I think sleepy would be a great supplement to start if you're going through something, or you just need help to bring down your brain. It gets too excited at night.
And then the last product we have up there is called Sleep and Mood. This one, we love it because it has 5-HTP in it. So a lot of times when people are trying to fall asleep, they know that melatonin is what helps them fall asleep. So people end up taking melatonin, and ultimately their body just doesn't learn how to create its own melatonin, right? We're just flooding our system with the melatonin. So what I love about the Sleep and Mood is it has 5-HTP, which is a precursor or a building block to help your body create its own melatonin. So using the Sleep and Mood actually helps your body learn how to create melatonin so that you can fall asleep more naturally. So this is why when people use melatonin for longer periods of time, it just doesn't seem to work anymore. And it's because you're not actually teaching your body how to fall asleep. So the Sleep and Mood is super beneficial for that. If you are somebody that has trouble falling asleep, you'll want to take one Sleep and Mood after dinner. And then if you're someone that just doesn't stay asleep, so maybe you wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and just cannot fall back asleep, then you'll want to take a Sleep and Mood right at bedtime. And then if you struggle with insomnia, meaning you're just really not falling asleep at all, try doing both of those, taking one at dinner and one when you ideally want to go to sleep, to help your body start that process of creating its own melatonin.
So your bedtime routine or your morning routine is just as important as your bedtime routine. You try your best to not hit snooze. Your body's trying to come out. If you
So true.
She laughs probably because
I did it today.
I've done it. We do it. But it's good to try not to, because even though you're tired, if you get up when you're waking up, you actually have more energy for the day than rather hitting snooze every 9 minutes, because that's what that fun snooze is. But it is helpful. And you want to make your bed because that helps your body know it's time to get up. You're ready for the day. Drinking a glass of water with lemon helps you prepare your stomach for breakfast and for even coffee. Wow. I personally drink a glass of water as soon as I wake up. I go to the kitchen. I like it. I don't like it warm, but I go to the kitchen, I get a glass of water, and I drink the whole thing, because you've been fasting all night long. So your body is actually very thirsty.
Dehydrated.
You are dehydrated.
I am.
And then if you add the water, it helps stimulate your metabolism and your digestive system to get ready for the day. And it's best to do that even before coffee.
So some other ideas for you to incorporate into your morning routine to help wake up your body would either be exercising or going for a walk. So I know both of us have in the past or are currently doing is waking up at like 5:30 to go work out. And that way it's just out of the way. So after work, when you're tired and sleepy, you can actually go home and rest and start to wind down instead of having to go work out at 5 or 6 p.m. at night.
There's definitely days where I'm tired and I don't want to go work out. But I push myself, and I'm always glad I did, and I'm always awake after and it's only like 6 o'clock when I'm done with the workout.
Nice.
And then if I exercise later in the day, I get energy from exercise. So it actually doesn't help me sleep as much than if I do it in the morning. So find what exercise routine works best for you.
True. And then maybe you want to journal in the morning or read, and that's just to get your mind stimulated, and any thoughts that you had last night that you maybe wrote down on your nightstand, you can look at those again and just expand upon those. Stretching or yoga, this is something that I've actually been doing in the morning, is when I wake up, I'll do a couple of breathing exercises, and then I'll do a few stretches. And again, that gets blood flowing to my muscles, and it just wakes up my brain as well. So I kind of combine those last two things. And do breathing, and then I'll do some stretching. Also this morning I did a cold shower, which doesn't feel the best, I would say, but it really stimulates your body and wakes you up. So when you don't want to do something, sometimes that's like the best thing to do, is actually to help your body do it and give yourself that good mindset. Like, man, even though I don't want to do this, I don't want to wake up, I want to hit the snooze button, just acting on it and like, you know, I'm going to do it. It just helps change your mindset and gets you in a different focus for the rest of the day.
And that's how you develop a habit. It's just by showing up every day. It's harder in the beginning, like you're saying.
So hard.
And then you get better at it. And you may have days where you don't feel it, but it's true.
It is true. Sorry.
There are some testing things you can do to test to see if your adrenals are fatiguing you. That matters because that could keep you awake at night. We're not going to go into tons of adrenal health, but some testing you can do at home is going to be the first one, temperature testing, because temperature testing, just like here, this bell curve in this picture, can't see my mouse, where the coffee cup is. So when you take your temperatures every hour on the hour, so you just pick a day from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, you take your armpit temperature right here, your auxiliary temperature, and you do that every hour. And then if you were to map them out on a graph, you would see, you would want to see a bell curve like this. When you look at that bell curve, that is normal. That is normal. When you start to see drops or your temperature is not even rising up, that's when your cortisol levels aren't rising. So I say cortisol levels because the temperature is a good way to measure your cortisol, which is your metabolism. As you're awake, your body should slowly heat up and get hotter throughout the day, and then slowly start to cool off as you downregulate for bedtime. So the cortisol levels, when they drop, that's usually when you're like, oh, I need coffee, or I have that afternoon fatigue. I see that a lot. So I would say that would be the time to start taking adaptogen herbs. That's ashwagandha, rhodiola. Those are things that you would take an hour before that dip so that it gets you up over that dip. And you would do that for like a month just to make sure your cortisol starts to rise and fall. And then you would retest in a month after doing those supplements.
So the other test I wanted to mention really fast was the pupillary constriction. So what that looks like is if you were in a dark room, you had a flashlight, you're just going to flash it in one eye at a time. Normally your pupils would constrict or get smaller. What happens though, if you do have adrenal fatigue, so let's say the reason why we're talking about adrenal fatigue is just like, let's say you have that nighttime routine, you have a good morning routine, you're actually getting sleep, but you just don't have the energy once you wake up. Yeah. And it could be the adrenal glands. So you would know that your adrenal glands are a little bit sluggish if you put a flashlight in your eye and it actually does not change for the first 10 to 20 seconds. Or if it doesn't ever change at all, then you know maybe it's your adrenal glands. Maybe it's not your routines and your habits and what's in your bedroom, but maybe it's actually something functioning on the inside not as well as it should.
And how your adrenal glands get stressed out is usually stress, too much stress or a long term of stress. So where to start? We've gone through some things. If you have questions, please let us know. But it's great to start somewhere. Like if you find an oil you like and you want to start putting lavender on your feet before you go to bed, or you know your muscles are sore, your body's sore, your joints are sore, then I would suggest start taking an Epsom salt bath and be consistent with it in the evenings. Or if you drink coffee every single day, I would challenge you to drink a cup of water before that coffee. And then try one new thing, I would say, for a week, be consistent for a week, and then try the next new thing a week later. And then that's how you create habits.
Let's say you've tried all these things and you haven't, and there's just a missing link. And if you have never gotten your spine checked and you have never been to a chiropractor before, maybe that's your next step. Because we all have to start somewhere, but if you've already have a lot of these good things in place, then maybe there is that missing link for you. So if you need help, let us know. We're always here for you guys. If you have any other questions, we'd be happy to answer them. You can type those in the chat right now because Ashley is helping us. So if anyone has any questions in the next few seconds, let us know. But we were really excited that you guys joined us. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you need any help with anything, just let us know, guys. We hope these tips helped you, and we hope that you incorporate something new in your sleep habits tonight. We'll see you later.
Bye.